Hi, Payal. Thank you for joining today.
Hello, Ishit. Nice to meet you again, and glad to connect on the call.
So, for the viewers and listeners of this conversation, I want to set the stage. Payal is the founder and CEO of AgroPak, biodegradable packaging company for specifically for cosmetic brands. And the story of this journey is quite interesting from the entrepreneurial point of view because Payal confronted this problem of plastic and she first decided to solve it in a certain way for the restaurants and hotels industry. And eventually she turned towards the cosmetics industry. And I will let Payal tell the story herself. So to begin with, Payal, when was the first time that you confronted this problem in a way that you want to do something about it? And what did you do next?
Hi, Ishit. So, thank you for introducing me. You have well put it that it is an interesting concept, and the journey also had been interesting. It was not just one moment, but various little moments which compiled into having a need to begin this. So very early on, so I have been brought up in not a tier one city. So when I came over here to Bangalore for my engineering, and during those days, I used to see, Bangalore is usually called Garden City, but
Yeah.
I just came across one of the, this sewage river kind of thing in between, and I inquired one of my friend that, see how dirty it is, and she was like, this used to be a river once upon a time. And then I felt too bad, and I just started asking her, okay, how long back and all of it. And she said that, Bangalore's weather used to be different. Bangalore's this landscape used to be something else. We didn't have to take care so much to the extent about pollution and all of it. And then when she pointed out that the overburden which gets caused by the amount of people migrating to these cities and the city not being able to handle it causes this problem. And there was kind of a frustration when every localite has, when it comes up to they are very happy when the city progresses. But at the same time, how much it pains them to see the city losing its charm when it comes to getting affected by pollution. So I think that was the very first time I wanted to make sure that if I continue to stay in the city, I do want to create something impactful directly or indirectly. That led me to, during my engineering days, there was something called as environmental technology. There was a 2 credit course, and I took it just for the interest of it, and that topic really interested me. So, like that, various other cases continue to happen. And since my interest was in biotechnology, I made sure that there was this always the amount of knowledge I gain along the experience I take. So sustainability that continued to go on in 2020 was the turning point wherein I saw the amount of plastic that was being thrown out after one use of the food, that people have the food and they throw it, the packaging that we see from Zomato and Swiggy. And that really bothered me, that why can't something be done about it? And that's when I started noticing that there is an issue of durability when it comes to the biodegradable options which are currently available. So I started inquiring on those levels and made sure that, is there actually a need to be there, or is that just an accessibility gap? So that's
Yes.
when the journey of AgroPak began. I personally felt that issue needs to be solved. And when in India we are an agriculturally strong nation, then the solution should maybe also come from here. And the main thing which gave me the hope, the solution part of it, was looking at the coconut shells. So in South India, coconut is used abundantly, and it's just the coconut shell is just thrown at the end. And that's where the inspiration came, that if that can be so durable and biodegradable at the same time, why can't the solution also be there? We just need to make sure that it is molded into a product form, a container form, that people feel it is useful enough. So yes, I saw that there is need in the market, but there is nothing much done about it. And that's how the journey began of Agro.
Okay. I remember seeing a bunch of solutions which are in the same lines of, being biodegradable? Like there are bowls and plates and things. So did you first experiment with that?
Yes, so we did that. So the whole journey, when it started, we made sure that we are not leaving any stone unturned when it comes to looking at what all solutions are available. So all across India, various manufacturers I spoke to got the samples from them, and we were very sure that we want to focus on naturally compostable products, not something which is industrially biodegradable, because that ruins the whole purpose of it. So the whole product after use should be able to, from the customer point of view, to be able to thrown into the wet waste or garden compost, or just like any other agricultural waste we throw. So that's how I focused on and connected with these companies, source these tableware as well as containers. Got to know that tableware is not that much of an issue because that's already being served. So there are banana leaves, there are bagasse made plates, there are areca leaves. So this part of it is getting served appropriately. But when it comes to packaging, as in when you need to take it from point A to point B, you need to ensure that it is contained properly. And that's when the real issue was coming, that people are using plastic, pouring hot food into it. And that's the place where the restaurants whom we spoke to, they were not happy with the biodegradable containers durability. So the lid closure mechanism wasn't appropriate. They felt that the container was getting soggy as soon as they pour the liquid in it. So those kind of issues, they found out that it was there, and we took that feedback very early on through them. And we got to know that these solutions in the container form are only viable for dry foods like burgers, max to max any dry noodles or things like that, which are very limited. And restaurant owners do not want to have separate containers for a set of food and a separate container for liquid based food. That's not something ideal for them. So that's when they all were, I got to know that they were all ready to pay the fine of using plastic, but still continue to go on, sourcing it, the plastic containers and selling it in that. So looking at that issue and then seeing what options do we have we not tapped into an option in this segment, is when I got to know that actually there is not enough solution for them, because already I was researching a lot of manufacturers and we didn't come across anyone who's doing particularly this. So that's the issue we wanted to solve. And I started researching a lot. And that's when we began the idea of containers. So, ours, few of the points which we kept in mind: one, it needs to be naturally biodegradable. Second, that it needs to be durable. Shouldn't get soggy when the liquid is poured into it. It should be water resistant, right? And third was giving it a container form. So it should have a lid and a base and a good closure mechanism so that there is no leakage whatsoever. So yeah, that's the
Right. So during this time, I'm curious if you already had this thought that you're going to start a company, or was it like this innovator's mindset that I want to solve the problem first?
Yeah. So the whole mindset was actually, I began by starting that if there is any company doing it, I would love to be part of it, you know. And then came the AgroPak e-commerce platform, because we felt nobody was doing, and I felt in a way that being in Bangalore, I would be able to have that access, and the kind of my knowledge also would help me build upon it. Then the transition from e-commerce to having a completely new product within AgroPak and just doing that and making that our USP. During that point, we were very sure, because coming from biotech background and having the kind of backing from our university who did encourage us to do such initiatives. And also when we got to know that such schemes are also from government helping companies like ours, where we lie at the intersection of solving a problem and having a real innovation. If the schemes are also supporting, so we felt that it's a great time to begin as a company, because that gives us a much more legitimacy on, in the sense of, yes, we are serious about it and we want to not just get into the solution, but also see the whole cycle of it scaling, reaching the customers, and how we can improve it at every stage.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And since the moment that you learned that, okay, coconut is maybe something that could be used, take
Yes.
me through the journey until the point where you made the first, usable material out of it.
Yes.
How did that go? Who were your support system?
Right.
And how was your overall experience?
Yeah. So the whole experience, we first knew that we want to do something with coconut shells. We tried to connect with the farmers, and they were the ones with whom we got to know like where it is actually being used, where there are very few use cases. They are used in agarbattis and all of these mosquito repellent coils and all of it. Not much of it, but that's where they were just processing it into a little finer form, and we that time at that point we didn't know that which form to use it in. So we first, the journey started by sourcing the shells ourselves, breaking it down ourselves, and then seeing what properties that we collected online through secondary research, like does it fit into those. Try to leverage on that and see the processing if we could do ourselves. So we made sure that we broke it down and then made sure that we are able to compress it. So that first set of machinery that we needed to do that was like a compression molding machine. And we kind of through our research got to know the kind of temperature, pressure we need to maintain to do all that. So that machine, when I built, I and my co-founder built was in, so I had not had an office then. So we built it around the outside of our home in the balcony area. And we did that through whatever machinery we could source, because at that point it was everything was bootstrap. It was all on savings. So whatever we had from the e-commerce platform we started, plus the our savings, we invested in a very rudimentary but enough to work machinery where we could apply pressure, compress the particles of coconut shell that we have, and see to what extent they could be compressed. So then we started building on various ways, the different hypotheses on how we can do our trials, improving the material, how different parameters could help it further. So all those kind of things we started initiating, and then we had various things on the property improvement. So at every stage we made the sample. It all started with making discs of the samples. So every stage we started checking to what level we can ensure that the property that we are looking for, we are able to get. So those samples we started to make, naming them and labeling different trials and errors. And that's when we continued the whole thing. So the discs is the main prototype that we developed first. And in order to improve that, we included a lot of other plant-based material as well to improve on the property. So that's when we knew that this is not just a very simple thing, but we are building a technology around it. And that's when we need the patentability in this area. So that time we just did the global patent search, and that was successful. And we continued in that lines, and we also ensured that we take advice from the experts when it comes to this. And we did that using a lot of nationalized agricultural research institutes, wherein if they have a certain segment of research already done on like a certain part of it, then we would talk to them and see like if they would be ready to collaborate or ready to give their input. So up to whatever level, if they could help, that had been also a really encouraging in the journey, because there were a lot of trial and errors, and it's like we don't know whether it would work or not. It was just
Yeah.
certain hypothesis that we were working on with.
How long was the timeline of this?
So the timeline, I would say it just on and off, we kept doing it since 2021 on a material level. But as I said, the machinery we started, the one which we built was in late 2021, 22. And the trials we were doing and the other components of the material we sourced, and we did the bowl shape. And we were able to do it final by June of 2022. Yes. So it's like,
Okay.
yeah. So that's the early prototype. Early prototype took around a year to build.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I
Mhm.
also see that you were using your savings and some of the early earnings that you had with e-commerce. What was
Yes.
your mindset like in that time?
Actually, if you see, I've read that also recently somewhere that if you knew the journey was going to be hard, you wouldn't begin. So I had no clue. I had no clue that how difficult it would be. But I knew that there is the need of the hour of this material. Yeah, we were little thinking that, okay, once we are done with the material, we would just, everything would fall in place. But yeah, after making the material, we knew, okay, after the first prototype, we knew that this is just the basic prototype. This is like, we need to go at the level, like the third point, which I spoke about the lid closure mechanism. That's something we need to work on. And there were definitely the major challenges when it came to the kind of, it comes to building a product, which has not been anywhere validated, is about looking into every aspect of it, so from sourcing to pricing to the feasibility of manufacturing. So the machinery which we had built at a smaller scale, that was just to make discs. Then how to get into a bowl shape. Are we able to even get it in a curved form, and will it hold the stability in the curved form? And then once we were able to do that, and when we received our first funding, it was all about how to prove it in a container form, so a lid closure mechanism with that. So that kind of the challenges were more than started coming about in the form of machinery, and the right mold that we need and the kind of customization that our material is demands. Is anyone able to even give that? Because our MOQ was very less. And usually in manufacturing, that MOQ becomes a great factor, whether they will take up the project or not. So that's also one of the thing. And then we also ask for like how much ever less you could quote us, that would be better. We are not revenue generating. So that had been like a huge challenge, but definitely there are like, because of the ecosystem of being in the startup seed fund scheme, they connected us to some of the right people whom at least, even if they are not able to help, they kind of like one by one, like chain reaction, someone could connect. So it's like we send our request to a lot of people, about like 30, and then maybe one would be ready to help. So that's how the whole process of getting someone to build our machine began. And that, for which we knew that, okay, we definitely need our workspace. Also, there was a decision point on whether we need to be incubated in such research facilities or should we have our own place, was also a crucial decision, because we need to have our machinery, whether they'll be able to accommodate that. So that's when like I changed my place from Gormangla in Bangalore, which is a prime location, to kind of an outskirt you can consider in Yalanka in Bangalore, all north, because we were getting a really good place in a cheap price. So the whole
Mm,
relocation we did because a great place we were getting, where we could have our machinery, do our R&D properly, and at the same time without running out of capital. So that's when the early on we did, and yeah, all these challenges we navigated.
yeah. Do you have your first prototypes with you?
Yes, yes, definitely. I would show it to you. I have.
Yeah, sure.
So these are the very early ons. So definitely there were some samples which all went into dustbin. So I do not have them, but these were the early ones.
Yeah.
We were able to do it. Uh,
These already look quite finished.
yes, they do look quite finished. So we did this kind of like smaller samples, and like you can see this one breaks.
Wow.
This didn't have the sturdiness.
Yeah, yeah,
So I can just break it. And there were like different trials we did on what kind of material integrity, on the kind of structural integrity it needs to have. So incorporating different fibers along with coconut shell, so that it, like a fiber based network gives much more strength. So we tried various things like jute and other things to give it reinforcement. So these like are the early prototypes. So we were able to make the bowl. So these kind of bowls is what gave us the first funding, because we were able to like, okay, can be made. So it was sturdy enough, but still we had to work on the strength. Yeah, the
Yeah.
lid closure mechanism, that was another ball game. But this itself was kind of like a proving point, and we were able to, at least if not the strength, we were able to show the water resistance in that. So once
Hmm.
it's poured into it, there is no leakage that happens. So while doing the trials, I'll just show you one more. Like there is this, when we started going on and making the closure mechanism. So like how the we weren't able to go to the threads part, like where we build the threads, it's not formed. So
Yeah.
okay, there was like a lot of irregularity. And if you see, like our early ones are more shining, and now we have not, because the pricing also is what we were working on. So we changed a lot of things in the material so that it comes down in pricing as much as possible. So that's why it looks more matte finished and polished. So yeah, so this is what we had, the threads and various things. So what we do is, when anything, like we have to make a shape, we 3D print. We 3D print and do that iterations, design R&D happens. And that's when like a lot of screw top mechanism we tried out what would work for us. And it should be suitable for the design limitations we can do with our material, because our material is not suitable for how plastic is done.
Hmm.
So, yeah, so that was the major thing. And now our product is in the container form. So it's like a whole lid closure mechanism.
Wow.
And
Perfect.
yeah, we've designed it for cosmetic industry. So yeah, any container which is in plastic, like the Spons bottle,
Yeah.
like we have in plastic, something like those can be like replaced with containers like this. And along the way, we also did our fiber research on different colors, because that's something also people would be interested in. So we have these coconut, this is entirely coconut shell. And then we use some part of coconut shell and other fibers in more quantity to give the variations in color. So we
Yeah,
have,
that's what I was going to ask. How do
yeah.
you add color to this? Is it like a biodegradable color or
Yeah, so that's also interesting that all these trials which we did so far, it's all natural fiber-based colors. So we didn't think about, oh, we need this color and we build it. Whatever we were using the fibers and making different variations, that itself led to the colors. So basically that's the different fibers, using them, we have different colors present. So this is,
amazing?
yeah, so this is different, but if need be of different colors that people are demanding apart from this, then we can look into how natural pigments we can incorporate. So we have made contact with companies who are doing like natural for textile, they do these pigments. So we will definitely continue to do that R&D, wherein we see how that color sits well with our material. So that there could be like different colors, like just like in plastic, people can have different colors. They should be able to have in this as well.
Yeah, I love that you are really focusing on what is the need, what is required by the market, and
Mhm.
instead of enforcing the solution just because it is sustainable, trying to
Mhm.
really make it fit the requirements.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think that's something that's really needed in this field, to not just go with this flag of, that we are doing something good, support us, help us, but
Yes.
instead really fitting it into the market. That's amazing. I want to understand again the time period between this first prototype that you had, which was, I think, towards
Mhm.
the end of 2022,
Yeah, we had it mid 2022. We had it, the
and
version
then
I showed you.
to the first closable lid mechanism.
So you would be surprised. Actually, this is our earlier one. We finished this one last year in September. So you can see like the first working prototype, we had it. We started the journey in 2022 mid, but we were able to do the whole product with lid closure mechanism by 2024. So yeah, so
Wow.
this has a lid closure mechanism, but a lot of material usage is a lot in this. And we wanted to also give it the kind of ergonomics as per the cosmetic cream container. So that's when we built these ones, and these we have completed building it in June. So yeah, we incorporated like various different designs for the product stability so that it doesn't fall, that usually all plastic containers have. So there is the screw top mechanism in this one was a different one, and it's like not so good. It's like a continuous thread, and over here we gave this continuous thread. We're able to see. I think it will be much more visible in this product.
Yeah, very clearly.
Yeah.
Looks really finished. Is it the same machine that you use for everything? Or
So when we got the funds, first thing we invested was on having the place and then having the machine. So we machine has been same, mold has been different. So we need to keep changing the mold, and that's how it will work later on also. The machine itself, next stage is to go for multi-shot, and then we would have different molds attached to it as per the design requirement. Yes.
right. So if I explain this in a very layman's term, you take coconut shells, you probably turn it or crush it into smaller particles and elements, and you mix it with some additional, again, biodegradable things. You put
Yes.
them in the mold and you hot press or cold press it, and then it turns out to be this container. A
That's
beautiful container.
That's right. Thank you. So yes, so all of the ingredients that we use, we keep it really simple, no chemicals. All the materials that we use after what we have done our trial and error, that has become our technology. And no plasticizer, no PLA. So these materials is what we use, and even the process. When once we got to know that the process also, which we do with our machinery, is not something no one anyone is doing. So that also is part of the patent. Then, so the material plus the mold and everything, the process that we incorporate. And that's the whole part of it. Like one of the factor which I wanted to tell that in this material is the material is quite thick. Any biodegradable material for that matter, it won't flow like how plastic would. And the kind of pellets they make and a very thin and melt flow index is really low. So when we got to know that the molding for scalability, we need to, a lot of people told that you need to get into making the product faster. And we went to prototyping places. We were told to add some of the plasticizer, and that will make your product work into something, because that's something which is already being done. And but that would not have the same feel. You can completely differentiate if you see such a product. They are right now in tableware segment. They make mugs and wine cups and all of those things. So a little bit of plasticizer is added in that, but that's what makes it not biodegradable. So we ensured that even though it is going to take time, we would rather put in that time and effort ourselves and do the whole prototyping ourselves rather than do going that route. So yeah, that's what led to the whole material handling, and we have created the whole SOP ourselves then.
Makes sense. About the
Yeah.
biodegradability of this,
Hmm.
if I just, so for example, if I leave a banana out on the
Hmm.
table,
Hmm.
in a few weeks, it's gonna be eaten up by different organisms and it's gonna lose its
Yes.
consistency and everything, right? So if I leave this box
Hmm.
just out on the table, is
Hmm.
it slowly gonna decay?
Yeah. So the thing is, we have verified it for the timeline of 3 years that there is no degradation that happens. So our product is not, we won't put it until under compostable segment because it says it needs to degrade in 6 months. But our product has much more shelf stable. And for that sense, even coconut shell won't degrade. Coconut shell takes longer time to degrade, and that's comes along with its the sturdiness how it has and takes longer to degrade. There are some natural material also that way which takes longer. So that's the same way we say we are naturally biodegradable, but definitely the degradation of that gets initiated once it is put into the soil. The soil holds moisture, the minerals which act up,
Mm.
all the microorganisms in the soil then act upon it. We do have certain factors of how we store that. Like we won't put it on outside high UV heat. We won't put it for longer time in something like a humid atmosphere. That extreme conditions can lead to degradation, but that's not somewhere you would store your cosmetic container. So at a normal room temperature, there won't be any effect. And that's the reason where we got to know that if we have such sturdiness at correct point of time is when we understood that product market fit for cosmetic industries. Great. And we, with our current price point, that would work.
Right. And this coconut shells that you get, that's also probably waste.
Yes, yes. So coconut shells mainly, as I told you, very less use cases are currently available, but the kind of amount of the hardest part of the shell being just thrown is a lot. A lot of farmers, they do not know if there is any value that can be generated later on. So they just the inside part of coconut, a lot of companies they just package that and they sell it for grated coconut or different other purposes, the coconut products that are made. So shells are usually just a byproduct and they just throw it away. Or maybe they will just maybe burn it and use it as like how wood would be using. So these are all waste. So what we do is from farmers, we source them. And we are preferably right now looking at someone who could give it to us in the form we are looking. So that also is just one step of value addition they can do and sell it to company like us. And we can build a great product out of it.
Right. Is there an additional incentive then for the farmers to also discard it in a more responsible way? Or how do they currently discard it? You said one of the things was to burn it, but then what are some other ways that they do?
So incentive, as of now in South India, there is not much. The places where in Northern India, there's a lot of cases around Delhi of the waste being burned. They do get such schemes are available. Over here, it's just a way for them to make extra money. That these kind of waste, anyways, they are going to throw it. But if they just clean it and package it, and they can just sell it to us. So we kind of build it with them, like what pricing they would be okay in selling. And right now we just take it in that value. So that's been the way of sourcing. For them, the incentive is right now at this point of time is how much they can earn from that. So that's the thing. But it would be really great if there is some kind of other incentive we could create around this that would promote more and more farmers to be aware of such a scheme and they can like earn more through that.
Right. Awesome. Since we have talked a lot about the innovation part, the product part,
Hmm.
you being an engineer, I want to understand how did the business aspect go? And
Mhm.
where did you learn about things? And
Mhm.
now that you're also focusing on the cosmetic industry,
Yeah.
why them?
Yeah.
And what led you to that decision? A lot of questions in this one question, but go on.
Yeah, sure. So, from my engineering, I would say like nothing of this sort was taught to us exactly. Like in biotech, it's really vast, but at the same time, very few like superficial things we get to learn. Okay, about agri-tech, the kind of so we had things about downstream processing, upstream processing, wherein the whole processing of how the factories would work, a batch reaction, and how different stages of it are and how to manage like an overview kind of thing we did get an idea that was really interesting and it I was very interested to know okay that this is how it works and it would be like whenever we would have factory visits a few of them it was interesting to look at and get to know the flow of the manufacturing setup so that was there and apart from that a lot of mentorship in the sense of when I was like I told you, there were companies whom we used to approach, can you build it for us, right? Even if their answers were no, we used to just ask them questions on whatever they knew, like if we are at this in place of me, if it were you, where would you go? How would you build it? So even that like, there was one person who specializes in injection molding. But to this day, he's really interested to know how our progress is going because at one point of time, he just gave a hope like, okay, in compression molding you can do it in such way, like certain ideas which they have from their experience. So because once they see the product and the potential, if the people who are interested, they do give their kind of feedback or something on the correct direction that we should go. So along the way, that has helped a lot. I have leveraged a lot on my biotech knowledge. Learning was mainly through, definitely the internet has helped in getting to know what's happening, because in India there's nothing like this happening. But I saw that in Europe there are people doing it with coffee beans, and they are trying to build with the product. I saw that a lot of companies are using PLA. Very early on, I got to know that in Europe, there are companies who do mix it with PLA and they are making containers. But I felt that until the need comes, like, let's not go for PLA, and it needs to be naturally biodegradable. So let's do with all what waste we have surrounding ourselves. So yeah, that's the learning aspect of it. During the time when we had the challenge of machinery and how to make it, the lid closure mechanism and the mold customizations, we did try out a third party manufacturing company, because I knew that manufacturing is something someone else could do better than me and faster. So we collaborated with them, and they told their process was really good in the beginning, but as we went on, we felt like the amount of time and precision we need, we cannot have someone else take care of it, because they were working on simultaneously various companies, and the speed which we wanted the things to be done, that wasn't happening, because every day something changes, like one factor doesn't work and then the whole project will have to scrape and go back. Okay, something else we'll do, just take the learnings and move on to the next. But over there, we had to wait a lot. And that created a lot of like delay for us in the last year, 2024, where we felt like things were not moving in the speed which we want. And that's when we decided to hire our own mechanical engineer for the team. So he is kind of like new product development, more design, product design engineer. So he had come with some experience, and we shared all the knowledge we have had so far. And along with him, then we were like, full time, we need someone to do these iterations and changes and all of it. That's when we were able to move to a working product. And that has been a very crucial part of it. So even though like we thought that once the material and prototype is done, we would collaborate with companies to do such manufacturing for us, but that doesn't work easily, is what I've got to know for a novel product. If your novel product is there, you do need to show it up to the market level as a proof, like end to end, this is how it is done. And then once the traction is there, and that point of time, we have the leverage of partnership, or else it just becomes an acquisition then. Then, so that's what we are trying to build, that even though we are learning along the ways, but keeping that as the foundation. So then later on, when we have to take help of other mechanical engineering companies, so we move at a much more faster speed and without compromising on the kind of material that we are building. Yes.
Right.
So
So, for example, a business needs to have um, an understanding of the market size,
yes.
understanding of the customers, and what are their needs, what are their pains and
Yeah.
gains, and everything.
Yeah.
What was that journey like for you?
Yeah. So that, and I would combine the question of why cosmetic companies also. So the whole idea began with solving the problem of food packaging, right? And the food packaging is what we were trying to build it for. The only issue over there was the price sensitivity. So food packaging is really, really cheap, especially in India, and the plastic price point is really low. And for us, especially to build our first few products, we cannot have a very thin material to be done and affect our sturdiness. The mold investment we do for this or a cosmetic packaging would be same. So why not go for a less risk one? But at the same time, the price point at which we are able to make and be able to sell also was fitting in cosmetic industry, where companies were looking for more shelf stable product, looking for something which builds their brand image as a sustainable packaging company, and that sets them apart from their customers. So we got to know that ESG regulations are forcing the such companies to do it. So while we continue our research on making it better for food and beverage and reduce the price, let's just start with cosmetic. And that's when the whole idea of it came up. We started contacting such companies and started to understand whether they actually need it. And once we got their feedback, is when we invested in the mold and we did the whole process. And coming to the question on like how did we like the company building, right? So you asked about it. So various aspects of it, then we divided. Like I take care of R&D and product development. My co-founder, he takes care of the social media marketing, SEO, and all of our social media page management, outreach. If there's because network is really important for us at this point of time. So if there's any outreach, even though I'm the one who attends these things, but keeping a lookout for what things to be reachable to. So that's what he takes care of, and also the logistics part of it. He takes care of like raw material sourcing and machinery related logistics if we have. So we also have a research associate. She works on the R&D full time. Recently, we have been doing production ourselves. So later on, we are this month we are getting a machine operator who would take care of the material preparation and the machine operation. And we also are hiring sales intern. So because I've been myself doing the sales so far, it would be good to have someone to manage the portfolio. So yeah, so that's the thing. So we our whole thing is B2B. So it's for us always the touch points are the companies, the cosmetic company manufacturers or third party manufacturer for cosmetics. Hospitality industry also we saw that there is a thing which the same container can be used there. So whoever is the decision maker in such companies is whom we try to get in touch and let them know there's a product like this exists. So yes, we're building kind of an ecosystem around it so that once that build is relationship building is done, then it all proceeds to them taking samples, trying it out themselves, placing orders, and usually this thing is something which is a recurring order. So on a monthly basis this is what we would need. So yeah, slowly and steadily, like we are thinking to grow in a manner wherein we build such relationship and try to improve on top of the material. So it helps really collaborating with companies who are ready to do that along with us, that trial period, they are giving us space to do it. So if there is any improvement, but these customers become our first hand feedback that they can provide, what kind of designs they are looking for. So we can build it, customize it for them.
Nice. Have you secured your first customer already?
Yeah, we do have a lot of pilot scales like samples that we are sending to companies. So we won't say as customers, but they have given their intent letter on purchasing it from us on a higher quantity. They do need to check for a certain period of time of 2 months on how their cosmetic is working inside our container. So that's the thing which is going on right now. Yes.
Nice. And what's the next milestone that you're looking forward to for AgroPack?
The next milestone for us, there are two milestones. One in terms of sales. We do want to acquire by next year 5 returning customers, provided they have big orders. And because at the same time, we are building the milestone on having a scaled up machinery and production scale, wherein we are able to produce 1,000 pieces per day. So we are able to, if we are, and we are already like have the design and the conversations begun with the manufacturers. So that's something which is in the pipeline, but to be able to establish and have machine operators working on it and having the team expand to that requirement, that's the whole goal.
Okay. In terms of building this category, in the sense that having a completely biodegradable packaging product, specifically in the cosmetic industries to begin with, what do you see? Where do you see AgroPack in 10 years?
Yeah. So we see AgroPak in solving the problem of companies, not just at the product level, but also giving them the leverage of having plastic removed at the source. So most of the companies worry about when it comes to using the packaging, they feel that, okay, let's go ahead with a solution what they have, and then later they have to worry about carbon credits, you know. So if we are able to give them along with them, so AgroPack should not just be a B2B company giving the product, but also a sustainability partner for them, wherein they, as soon as they adopt the solution and bring it into their pipeline of plastic replacement, they also bring in the kind of information they also can put out in their website saying, we are not using any plastic. We are not even using wood that would cut the trees. So that way we are carbon neutral. So that is what we want to build, because a lot of countries at this point are focusing on being carbon zero by a certain year. So they all have goals to achieve it. And big companies are making sure that big countries are making sure that big companies are part of this, you know. So just like annual reports, they have ESG reports also that just not financial, but also ESG reports that they need to bring out. Right now, it's being applied in very few countries, developed countries, but as and when it grows, the awareness grows, it would definitely come on to developing countries as well. So where the need is, we would expand, but our main goal is in the 10 years, I would like to see it achieving the scale that we started out this solution with this idea. It just, it need not be definitely like the whole thing, just we are controlling it. But if we could do it with a franchisee model, it would be great. Someone would like to license the like we would license, and someone would buy the license and scale it to a level, and we get a good partnership through them. That would be great, because the whole aim is to get the solution in the market as soon as possible, because if something exists like that, then why to use plastic is the aim. So it should
Yeah,
not be difficult for us to make and advertise. And also it shouldn't be difficult for customers to adopt. That's the goal.
it would be amazing if I buy my next Vaseline or Ponds and
Yeah.
it doesn't come in plastic, you know?
Yes. Yes. That's the aim actually. Yeah.
Nice. As one final question, I would like to ask you, what would you suggest to a budding innovator, entrepreneur who wants to do something in this field of sustainability in India?
I think my first thing would be to tell them that first build the kind of information, you know, like there's a lot happening in this field. It should always start with what's going on, be completely aware of it. And it's a great growing field. Another thing is that there's a lot of support from government ecosystem that's building around this. So definitely to leverage on that, the network that we build, it would be great, and that would create the base just even before you start, even before you invest your first amount of money. So this will build a great, you know, the knowledge on what to build exactly. So after that, then it comes to building the first prototype. I think prototype is everything. We tried applying for funds a lot just when we had the idea, and that didn't work out. But prototype was the thing which led to the first funding. So prototype is very important in how much ever minimum scale we are able to do, definitely to do it. And another thing I feel in India that doesn't happen often and companies don't do it, I'm not sure why, we just happen to do it, is collaborate with institutions. In research institutions have great amount of ideas. And obviously, they won't go out to say companies that see, hey, we are here and we are ready to help. We even didn't know whether they'd be ready to help. But when we went over there, we got to know that, oh, they are open to it. So yeah, so we, that's something which I feel we should leverage on, because if they have already done their certain set of research, so that you wouldn't have to spend your time again doing it, and they would just give that technology transfer, and yeah, that would be some useful amount of capital you need to put in to collaborate with them and do the some of the research done by them. So yeah, these are the main points I would say. Related to sales, I think I'll be able to answer next year.
When you proved your metal that you are able
Yes,
to sell this.
yes, yes. There's a long learning curve over there. So yeah, it's interesting learning a lot.
Makes sense. Is there anything that you would finally like to include as a part of this conversation?
Um, I would, yeah, definitely thank an initiative like Mission Sustainability for being part of this, because this is a growing field. And I feel the kind of conversations that happens in Europe and US for that matter, I feel that was lacking in India. And even though there are on a government scale, some initiatives coming along, but not everyone gets to know about it. There needs to be more and more word about it. And anything we do at this point is all less compared to how much plastic has scaled. The amount of R&D that, and it has gone behind in getting plastic up to that level, I feel we need to put double the amount in getting the awareness out for sustainability, whether it was in EV or someone doing air treatment or water solution. All of these, I feel, because it has a lot of challenges to be able to put out the word out or the solution out, that much we need to also talk about it, so that people are looking forward to it, and they are like, okay, the effort is being put and they are okay in waiting a bit. So I think that's the kind of last word I would give, is that yeah, if we not just do money making, we keep that aside, these solutions have some place to grow. And then money making comes later on, because these are the companies like mine would be building a foundation right now. So the money comes later, but the innovation would come first. And that's where I feel like countries like China are proceeding higher, because they have given so much priority early on to R&D, and we are lagging behind. And I think the initiatives which are being done, and if companies like Mission Sustainability also promotes it, I think we can grow more and more, because the kind of interest we have right now, it's amazing, and it would help us grow. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Payal, for your time and sharing your
Thank
journey.
you. Thank you so much, Shweta.